Most men don't understand this, but the more available you are to a woman, emotionally, physically, mentally, the more she starts to take you for granted. It's not about being rude or manipulative. It's simply human psychology. We value what feels rare. We crave what we can't easily have. And the truth is, the moment she feels like she has all of you, every part, every thought, every second, you lose that edge, that mystery, that magnetism. So you have to learn this. Your availability must be earned, not assumed. Think about anything valuable in life: diamonds, gold, luxury cars. What do they all have in common? They're hard to get. They aren't available on every street corner. And because of that, people chase them, they pay for them, they fight for them. The same principle applies to you. If you make yourself too common, too easy, too predictable, she won't see your value, even if you're the best man she's ever met. Now here's where most guys fall into the trap. They react emotionally. She pulls back a little, and suddenly he's blowing up her phone, texting, calling, double messaging, asking, "Are you okay? Did I do something wrong?" What he doesn't realize is this reaction is exactly what makes him less attractive. She reads that as weakness, not love, not care, weakness. And weakness in the early stages kills attraction. Instead of reacting, you need to pause. You need to control your impulses. Let her wonder. Let her ask the questions. Let her be the one pacing around, trying to figure out what's on your mind. This kind of self-control shows something women deeply respect but rarely see. A man who isn't driven by fear of loss. A man who can sit with silence. That's emotional maturity. That's power. You see, silence is not empty. It's full of messages, especially when it follows her sudden coldness, her mood swings, or her tests. Women often test without even realizing it. They want to see, is this man emotionally stable? Can he hold his ground when I pull away? Or will he fall apart and chase me like the others? Your silence in that moment becomes your greatest response. It says, I won't chase, I won't beg, I am not afraid to lose someone who doesn't value me. That silence creates space, and space triggers her brain in a very specific way. She starts thinking. She starts wondering, why isn't he calling me? Did I go too far? Is he talking to someone else? Did I lose him? And those questions create an emotional loop. That loop leads to craving. That craving leads to action. She'll either come back or she won't. But either way, you didn't lose yourself in the process. You stayed grounded. You stayed powerful. But ignoring her doesn't mean becoming heartless. It means becoming focused. Redirect your energy to your goals, your mission, your body, your life. Stop orbiting her world and start building your own. That shift alone is powerful, because when she sees that your world doesn't collapse without her, she'll want to be part of it. She'll chase what's grounded, not what's desperate. And remember this, attraction doesn't grow in comfort zones. It grows in tension, in curiosity, in the unknown. If she knows exactly where you are, what you feel, and what you'll say, there's no spark left. The mystery is dead. But if you hold back a little, if you create just enough space for her to miss you, she'll start to crave your presence like an addict looking for the next hit. So don't give her all your time, your thoughts, your energy, especially if she's not giving you her respect. Pull back not to punish, but to protect your value. Because when she realizes you're not a man who chases, but one who chooses, that's when she'll start choosing you over and over again. That's how you flip the game. That's how she becomes addicted, not to your presence, but to the version of you that doesn't need her to feel complete. Most men spend their energy obsessing over a woman instead of building the kind of life that would make her obsess over them. And that's the trap. You keep asking yourself, how do I get her back? How do I make her like me again? But the real question should be, how do I become the kind of man she never thought she could lose? That starts with shifting your focus, your mission, your growth, your health, your mind. The more you stay locked on her, the more she pulls away. Why? Because women feel when a man's world revolves around them. And the moment she feels she's your center, not your complement, she stops chasing. She gets bored. She loses respect. But when you put your energy into your purpose, when your days are consumed with building something valuable, with becoming someone of substance, she starts to feel your absence in a way that ignites her curiosity. And that curiosity pulls her toward you, because women are drawn to men who seem to be moving forward with or without them. And that's the art of ignoring the right way. It's not about disappearing out of anger. It's about withdrawing with confidence. Because when you step back without explanation, without neediness, without begging, it creates an emotional vacuum. She starts to feel the shift. She starts to question what changed. She begins to replay your last conversation, your last message. That's where the magic happens. You see, most men think ignoring means being cold, but in reality, the most powerful form of ignoring is calm detachment. You're not angry, you're not bitter, you're just no longer emotionally available to someone who isn't meeting your standard. And that energy, it hits different. She notices when your tone changes, when your responses get shorter, when your energy gets quieter. It's not drama, it's discipline. And the truth is, sometimes silence after disrespect is louder than any speech you could ever give. You don't argue, you don't explain, you don't try to fix what she chose to break. You just remove your emotional access. And trust me, that loss feels heavier than any fight ever could. Because confidence in silence is more attractive than insecurity in words. A woman may test you, pull away, act hot and cold, but when you respond with stillness, with grace, with strength, she sees something rare. A man who doesn't panic when she plays games. A man who doesn't chase confusion. A man who understands his worth. And here's the part no one tells you. Mystery fuels obsession. When she doesn't fully understand you, when she can't predict your every reaction, when she starts wondering what's going on inside your head, she starts chasing clarity. She starts seeking your attention, because her brain becomes addicted to solving the emotional puzzle you've now become. But when you over-explain yourself, over-text, over-commit, there's no mystery left. And without mystery, there's no obsession. So don't give her everything at once. Let her earn your full attention. Let her feel your energy in doses, not floods. Because the moment she feels you're a prize, not a pursuer, is the moment she starts valuing every second she gets with you. And here's where you flip the game completely. Reverse the reward system. Most guys reward bad behavior. She pulls back, he texts more, she disrespects, he apologizes. She goes cold, he starts proving himself. But you reward respect, warmth, effort, and you withdraw when there's distance, manipulation, or coldness. That reversal shifts her entire mindset. Suddenly, she's the one adjusting to keep your presence. And that's not punishment, that's power. Detachment is not about revenge, it's about self-respect. You're not ignoring her to hurt her. You're protecting your energy from being wasted. Because once a woman realizes you're not emotionally available to her inconsistency, she starts becoming emotionally consistent. So stop trying to be the man who wins her over with words. Become the man who wins her over with presence and the willingness to walk away quietly when your value isn't recognized. That's the man she'll chase. That's the man she'll respect. That's the man she'll choose. Like an addict who finally realized the high was always in your absence, not your attention. Your energy is your currency. Every time you give your attention, your words, your emotions, you're spending it. The question is, who and what are you spending it on? Because most men don't even realize they're going broke emotionally by over-investing in someone who doesn't value their presence. And the sad part, she feels that. She feels when your energy is too available, too accessible, and instead of appreciating it, she starts pulling back. But when you start becoming selective, when you treat your time and focus like something sacred, everything changes. She begins to feel your absence, not as an insult, but as a shift in how you value yourself, a shift in what you tolerate. And in that moment, your energy becomes attractive again, not because you tried harder, but because you stopped trying where it wasn't being respected. Sometimes the best thing you can do is let her feel the emotional consequence of her actions, not by punishing her, not by ghosting her out of anger, but simply by stepping away when you feel taken for granted. When she sees that you're no longer emotionally available like before, it makes her pause. It makes her reflect, because whether she admits it or not, she felt your energy when it was consistent, and she feels the loss of it now that it's gone. You don't need to slam doors or create drama. You just need to go quiet. Let her sit in the silence. Let her sit with the memory of what it felt like when your presence was constant and the sting of what it feels like now that it's missing. Women remember the energy, the way you made them feel. And when that energy disappears without chaos, it lingers even more. That's the paradox. The mind chases what the heart can't predict. Predictability kills excitement. It kills emotional tension. It kills desire. If she knows exactly what you'll do, how you'll respond, how fast you'll reply, where's the fire? Where's the thrill? But when you become a little more unpredictable, not in your values, but in your rhythm, she starts thinking about you more because you've created something rare, emotional uncertainty, and that emotional uncertainty drives obsession. The goal isn't to play games. It's to create space for her to desire, space for her to initiate, space for her to reconnect, not just with your presence, but with her own feelings for you. Because without space, there's no longing. Without longing, there's no emotional pull. But none of this works unless you set the frame. Most men follow her frame, her rules, her moods, her timing. But a high-value man sets the emotional tone. He doesn't get pulled into passive, aggressive silence. He doesn't get manipulated by hot and cold energy. He stands firm. He lets her know, not through words, but through behavior, that his peace comes first. That's when she starts leaning into your energy, because she realizes you're not reacting, you're leading. And finally, if you truly want to become the man she chooses like an addict, stop trying to be her fix. Become her reward. Stop giving her your attention on a silver platter. Make her earn it again. Let her remember what it felt like to be around a man who had standards, a man who didn't tolerate emotional confusion, a man who didn't settle for half love or lukewarm effort. That's the secret. When you ignore the wrong behaviors and protect your energy, you become the emotional prize. You become the mystery, the challenge, the man she can't quite figure out. And that's exactly the kind of man who doesn't just get chosen once, but keeps getting chosen again and again. So pull back, not out of pride, but out of power. Because when you learn to ignore the wrong way, you lose her. But when you learn to ignore the right way, she'll chase you like she never knew she needed to.